Why that this person failed their driving test. So we can see here there's a lot of marks on this sheet, and in total he has failed the test 4 times. So let's get into it and see what happened. So the very first thing we see here is that he got a grade 3 for position on roundabouts. So this mark, it's not very common to see this, it's actually pretty unusual. In his Facebook post, he mentioned the tester said that he was to go straight through second exit, but he went the third exit to the right. If this happened in your driving test and you went the wrong way because you didn't understand the tester, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to fail, unless it completely spoils the tester's route. What I would say happened here is he positioned himself to go straight through, he was in the left side and came around the outside, and then for whatever happened in his head, he forgot what he was doing and continued around the roundabout and turned right in the outside lane. That would be considered very dangerous doing that, and I think that's why he probably would have got the grade 3 for position on roundabouts. Next, we see he got a grade 2 for position turning right. So there's so many reasons why you can get a grade 2 for position turning right. One is normally not driving in a straight line up to the turn just left of the centre line. Another would be steering too early and cutting the turn and not going up to the centre line of the new road. Also, you could get a mark for position turning right if when you join the new road, you're either too close to the curb or for whatever reason you do too much steering and you're in the middle of the new road you want to drive into. To see the full video where I explain exactly how to turn right and how to avoid the mistakes for position and observation turning right, watch this video above. Next, we see he picked up a grade 2 for observation moving off. Now, if you've seen any of my videos, you know I like to use GOSHO moving off. That's gear, observation signal, handbrake, observation. In his Facebook post, he did mention that he knew all about GOSHO, but the nerves got the better of him. So there's 3 reasons why you can be marked for observation moving off. One would be just not checking over your right shoulder, over your blind spot before moving off. That would be the most common. Another one would be, say you do your GOSHO or whatever variation you like to use, you look around, you signal right, then you notice a car coming, but you leave your signal on as a car or a cyclist or whatever is coming up from behind. Remember, if we look around and we see a car, cancel your signal. If you see a car, don't signal, or if you have signaled, cancel your signal as they drive past. And the last reason why you could be marked for observation moving off is you do your GOSHO, yeah, it all looks good, but then as you pull out, there's a car coming from behind or a cyclist and you pull out in front of them and the tester felt you should have cancelled your signal and waited and let the other road user pass. If you don't know what GOSHO is, check this video above. It's the full description of how to move off correctly from a park position. So next we see you got a grade 2 mark for observation changing lanes. So there's a few reasons why you can get marked for this. One would be not checking your mirrors and blind spot at the correct time just before you change lane. Another would be a lot of people tend to think that when they change lane they have to do a big look behind them in their blind spot, when instead when you're changing lane it's mirror, signal, just before you move the wheel, your blind spot is just in your side window beside you. It's not a big look out your back window. It just means you're not looking where you're going and you're taking your eyes off the road driving at speed. Remember, your blind spot is just beside you. And the last reason why you could be marked for this is, imagine we're changing lane, we do our mirror, signal, we check our blind spot and we move, but the tester noticed there's a car coming up behind you at speed and the tester felt we should have let them continue on and then probably moving behind them if it was safe to do so. Remember, we don't just pull out in front of someone if they're planning on overtaking us. Next we see he got 1 grade 2 for observation turning right. Now just like position turning right, there are so many reasons why you can be marked for observation turning right. The main reason why I see people get marked for observation turning right is simply not looking where they're going. So take a look at this short clip here from the video I mentioned earlier from position turning right. On my side of the road, I'm straight, and what people tend to do is this, they look this way, trying to drive down here. So that would be the most common reason why people get marked for observation. Other reasons why you could be marked for observation turning right would be, imagine we're turning right into a side road and there's a car coming towards us and we pull out in front of them. Now that can go 2 ways. If the tester felt you didn't see the car, they'd mark you for observation turning right. But if the tester felt you seen the car but you didn't know the rules of the road and you done that, the tester would mark you for right of way. And that's a story for another video. Another reason why you could be marked for observation turning right is this. So imagine I'm turning right into a side road and there's a pedestrian crossing the road over here and we drive at them. So this happened to me in Calesta test route number 5, and I actually gave myself a grade 3 for this, for driving at this pedestrian. I either got a grade 3 for observation turning right, or I either got a grade 3 for anticipating others. So take a look at this short clip here. We're turning right, signal right. Not sure what this car's gonna do. He's giving me a hand signal there. Yeah, he's stopped. Off I go. Now that pedestrian is crossing the road there. Just let her across. So remember, when we're turning right, when we look into the road, if for whatever reason we can't complete the turn because there's a pedestrian crossing the road or there's traffic built up on the new road, we just stop the car and wait until it's safe to go. And only when we can fully complete the turn, that's when we make the turn. If you're enjoying the video and you're serious about passing your driving test, why not join my YouTube membership, where I break down the full marking sheet guidelines and I show you exactly what the tester is looking for. I've made it seriously affordable and you will be supporting the channel so I can make bigger and better videos. Click the join button on my page. Next we see he got a grade 3 for observation turning left. The reason why you get a grade 3 for observation turning left will be this. So imagine we're driving along, we're turning left into a side road and we make the turn and there's a pedestrian crossing the road and we continue to drive at the pedestrian at the same speed without slowing down with the brake and possibly stopping. Another reason would be if we're turning left into a side road and there's a car parked on the left, there's oncoming vehicles and we continue to try squeeze straight through the gap when the tester feels it would have been safer to wait. Other reasons why you could get marked for observation turning left will be coming to a T-junction, not doing adequate observation and probably pulling out in front of a car. Again, this is similar to turning right. If the tester feels you just didn't look enough and pulled out in front of someone, you get a mark for observation. But if the tester felt you looked right and left and there's a car coming and you pulled out in front of them anyway, that will be a mark for right of way. So take a look at this video above for what happened to one of my students last year and he failed his test for this. So next we can see we're on to reaction to hazards and anticipating others. So as we can see here on the RSA marking sheet guidelines, there's a full list of reasons why you can be getting marked for reaction to hazards. The main reason why I find people generally get marked for this is for not reacting when there's something or someone in the road in front of them and they continue at the same speed. Whether it's a pedestrian crossing the road, a car pulling out in front of them, a car parked on the left and not moving out in adequate time. So just remember, it's always reaction sooner rather than later. So take a look at this video above where I explain reaction to hazards, and also in the second clip I also explain anticipating others, where a lady wanted to cross the roundabout and I eased off and let her cross. Next we see he got 2 grade 2s for progress turning left. This simply means he was just too slow when turning left, either into a side road or at a T-junction. This would probably be more common at a T-junction. Remember, once you position and you look right and left and it's not a stop line and you know the way is clear, you don't have to stop. You can keep going if you know it's safe to do so. Next we see he got a grade 3 and would have failed his driving test for vehicle controls and handbrake. In his Facebook post he mentioned that he was asked to move off from a park position and he didn't take his handbrake down, and the tester gave him a grade 3 for that. That seems a little bit harsh, but if that's what the tester wanted to do, fair enough. Other reasons why you could be marked for this would be, imagine if we're sort of in slow moving traffic and we're on a hill, the tester probably wanted him to pull his handbrake up, but instead he didn't and he rolled back in slow moving traffic. That would be more realistic version of getting a grade 3 for handbrake. So next we see he got 1 grade 2 for road markings. That could simply mean driving over chevron markings when he should have avoided them, or being in the wrong position at a continuous white line and breaching the continuous white line. There's a few other reasons mentioned in the marking sheet guidelines. And last but not least, he got 1 grade 2 for observation at the turnabout. So there's a few reasons why you can get marked for observation on the turnabout. If you watch this video here right beside me head, that will be the full description of how to do the turnabout correctly and how to avoid common mistakes. Remember lads, if you like the content, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.